Okay, Google, how are an Indian startup lobby, a US district court's verdict, and Alphabet's dominance linked? Search that and Google itself will tell you they have been labeled monopolistic by a US judge.
He, lo and behold, ruled that Google is an illegal monopolist, which is why this decision is particularly perilous for Google.
A ruling in a US district court has shaken the world. Almost 25 years after a similar antitrust verdict had dislodged Microsoft as the top dog in big tech, Judge Amit Mehta's order has been labeled seismic. He ruled that Google's search engine has been illegally exploiting its dominance to squash competition and stifle innovation. This is likely one of the biggest antitrust verdicts in US and world history. For starters, it is a huge setback to Google's parent company, Alphabet. The stock price of publicly traded US giant is down over 10% since the 12th of July. Google had argued that they were so good at what they do that their name had become synonymous for searching things online. Maybe someone should tell Alphabet to Google what is a monopoly. The US Justice Department had filed its lawsuit against Google almost 4 years ago, when Donald Trump was the president. They have since turned up heat in line with Joe Biden's efforts to rein in big tech. The US Justice Department painted Google as a tech bully that methodically thwarts its competition to protect its own search engine. So, what was at stake for Alphabet? Well, Google's search engine is their crowning glory. The centerpiece of its digital advertising arm that earned nearly $240 billion in revenue in just 2023, the US government argued that Google's monopoly had allowed it to artificially raise advertising prices without spending on improving its search engine. In its defense, Google pointed out that consumers historically change search engines if they are not getting desired results. But then, how many search engines can you really name beyond Google? The bigger question is, how does this impact India? The answer lies in what the US judge ruled, an antitrust complaint filed by an Indian startup lobby. In early August, the Alliance of Digital India Foundation, a startup lobby, reached out to the Competition Commission of India with a complaint against Google. The alliance accused Google of anti-competitive practices in the online advertising market. It looked like just another volley in the new age versus giants war in the tech world. Until, of course, the massive setback dealt to Google in the US. The alliance directly accused Google's dominance of negatively impacting Indian businesses. Thousands of kilometers away in the US, a judge called out the default distribution that Google is allegedly misusing.
4 long years after this, the Justice Department brought this landmark case, which was the biggest antitrust case brought in the US in a quarter century since the Justice Department went after Microsoft. We finally got a ruling from the judge, and he, lo and behold, ruled that Google is an illegal monopolist, something that Google thought that it would never be when it started 25 years ago, and they cast Microsoft as the villain. But now Google is the technological bully, so the script has been flipped ironically here. Justice
Mehta noted that a majority of people just stuck with the pre-loaded or default search engine installed on their devices. However, the key part of the judgment was that it is limited to relevant geographical locations. For instance, India's largest Android phone seller, Xiaomi, has the Opera browser installed in its devices as default. More interesting is an eye on India's plans for a digital competition law. The Narendra Modi government, like many others across the world, has attempted to address the challenges posed by big tech dominance. In 2022, India's competition regulator had also fined Google for abusing its market-dominant position in the Android mobile device ecosystem.
What he's most troubled by is what are these deals that Google's been entering in for years with Apple, Samsung, and others to make its search engine, which is already dominant, the default search engine. That means it's like the automatic place. When people ask a question, Google's doing the search and they are delivering ads based on that.
The US District Court's order could result in sweeping changes within Google. The internet empire has been dealt a blow. It remains to be seen, though, if it is as fatal as what Microsoft sustained 25 years ago.